So today we'd be looking at noun, verb, adverb and adjectives. And before I begin to describe each one of them, I would want you to know that the major thing that we're focusing on in this video is noun and verbs. And the reason for that is adverbs and adjectives have everything to do with noun and verb. Okay, you have to know what exactly a noun is and what exactly a verb is in order to get what an adjective could be or what an adverb could be. Today we would be looking at noun and verbs, and we'd be looking at them in a way that next time you have to identify a noun or a verb, you won't have to go through the definition again, you won't have to go through the rules, you won't have to go through any of the material in order to identify them. Okay, so before we begin, let's take a look at the definition of a noun. What exactly is a noun? When I was a kid, I was taught noun is the name of a person, place or a thing. And I think that this is an extremely flawed definition of a noun because it doesn't consider the abstract nouns. And abstract nouns are the most abundant in real life, okay? If I'm talking to you, I would be using abstract nouns most of the times. So this definition doesn't cover the abstract idea of a noun. There are some definitions which do consider the word idea, which do include the word idea in order to compensate for not using the word abstract. So whenever it comes to a definition, it should be something that is a bit more conceptual. Okay, it gives you the exact and it gives you the entire idea of what one thing could be. So my definition of a noun is everything that exists is a noun. Everything that exists, it could be in its physical form or it could be in an abstract form. It doesn't have to exist physically in order to be a noun. So anything that exists in either a physical form or in an abstract form is a noun. Now, if I were to say some person's name, or if I were to say some place's name, or if I were to say something's name, okay, you would know it's a noun. If I were to say bottle, you wouldn't know if it's a noun or not, because it's not a name, it's just me just calling something something, okay? So a bottle is not a noun. And confidence, I don't know what that is because it's not a verb. I'm not doing confidence, so yeah, it's not a verb. So is it a noun? Is it not a noun? So in order to clarify all of those ambiguities, I have considered noun as everything that exists in either physical form or in abstract form. Now you must be very familiar with the physical forms of noun. Okay, it's a bottle, so it's a thing, so it's a noun. But if you were to look at everything that exists being a noun, you won't have to think about whether a bottle is a noun or not. Okay, so you just look at something and you'd be like, yeah, it's a noun. Okay, camera, yeah, it's a noun. Mic, yeah, it's a noun. Okay, so you don't actually have to think whether it's a thing, whether it's a name of a person, or whether it's a person, or whether it's a place. You don't actually have to think. You just have to think whether it exists or not. Okay, now as I told you earlier, confidence. Okay, confidence is a quality. Okay, it's a quality that exists. Okay, confidence, if I am confident because I have confidence, okay, it's something that I have, it's something that exists, so thus it's going to be a noun. If I were to say cowardice, cowardice is something that exists, so it's a noun. If I were to say competition, a competition exists. It exists because obviously there's some kind of competition existing between you and I, okay? So if I were to say any of those words, you just have to think whether it exists or whether it does not exist, okay? Whether it exists or whether it's an action taking place, okay? Or whether it's a quality. If something could exist, it's going to be a noun. Now, I would have to elaborate on that, obviously. If I were to say confident and if I were to say confidence, now which one of those is a noun? Confident is obviously going to be used in order to describe something else, so it's not going to be a noun. Okay, confident cannot exist. confidence can exist. So confidence is going to be a noun. So whatever exists is going to be a noun, whether it exists in a physical form or in an abstract form. Okay. Now moving on to verbs. The definition that I was familiarized with in school was it's an action word, and that's it. That's the definition of verb. And I think the use of the word action is not quite right, because it kind of gives an idea that the action is something which is intentional and for the short period and is taking place in the present. So in a sentence, when there is just general existence of an action, we tend to get confused about what the action is going to be or what the verb is. So a better definition, in my opinion, could be a verb is a word that describes an occurrence or existence of an occurrence or an action taking place in the present, past or future. I know it's a bit lengthy one, but it covers up all the aspects. For example, if I were to say, she talks a lot. Now, she's not talking right now. There's no action being performed right now. She did not talk in the past. She's not going to talk a lot in the future. This is just a general statement about her personality. Now, what is the verb here? You just say talk. Talk is an action. You can talk. So yeah, talks is going to be the verb. But a better way to look at it is that she talks. It's a general occurrence. It happens. It's a general action she takes. Okay. Whenever she gets the opportunity to talk, she talks a lot. Okay. So this is the general occurrence of a behavior, and that is why it is going to be classified as a verb. Now let's look at a bit more complicated example. If I were to say I am here. Now, as you might already know, that almost every sentence has a verb. It's somewhat impossible to have a sentence that makes complete sense without having any verb in it. So if I were to say I'm here, what would the verb be? For example, if I were to say I'm here, okay? Now in this example, the definition of a verb being an action word is going to fail, because I'm not taking any action and you won't be able to identify what the verb is. Now the verb is am, okay? And it is a helping verb, and it's not actually an action taking place, but it is still a general occurrence. I'm generally occurring at some place, okay? I'm generally existing at some place. So this is going to be, and the word am is describing that, okay, somebody is somewhere, okay? It's just helping the sentence make more sense, but it's also helping the audience, helping the other person that I'm telling this to know that I exist somewhere. So I hope these examples helped a little, and I might be wrong in some points because these are all my made up definitions which I looked up from some other places as well. So I think they're pretty valid, and yes, I have used those examples on almost every sentence that came to my head, and yes, those were appropriate to me. Let me know in the comments, and see you some other time in the future. Let's discuss adjectives and adverbs tomorrow. Have a good day.